everybody, welcome back to the channel. I had a little special thing planned for today's video, but as you can see, the lake is quite frozen. Even though a day or two it was all open, we had one cold spell overnight and it pretty much frozen enough to where you can't put a kayak in the water. So we're going to discuss real quick the items you need to put on your kayak to make it into an electric powered trolling motor. Now there is other paperwork and everything involved. You have to get it registered, and you also need to get it titled if it's over 14 feet in Pennsylvania. So make sure you look into that stuff before you go and buy all this physical gear to make this electric powered kayak. Later in the year I'll have a more in-depth video on all the paperwork and using the motor itself. So stay tuned to the channel for that in the future. So for the most part, the assembly and build is pretty straightforward here. Just got to make sure you put your transom on your kayak where you want it to be. Make sure you center it and tighten everything down on the transom bar itself. And then make sure you mark the holes with a nice permanent marker, Sharpie, anything like that that'll mark on your hull of the kayak. And as you can see right here, you can see the general location of where the kayak serial number is. So if you need to find yours, it's probably in the same general location. And I was using a 13/64 drill bit here to drill the holes, the pilot holes for the transom to be mounted to. Now you'll see my note in the future here, but where I'm drilling right now, those holes don't have any nuts on them on the bottom of the bolts. They pretty much self-tap into plastic. That's why I used a smaller bit than what the bolts for the transom actually are, as there is no access to where the ends of the bolts were. With a quick test fit, everything lines up perfectly, and I put the rubber bushings on the bottom between the transom and the kayak. This way it doesn't produce any weird vibrations and kind of makes it a little more quieter. These also did come in the kit with the bolts and the transom itself. When you're at this step, don't tighten everything down all the way. Just put it in just enough to hold everything in place so you can finish assembly of the transom to the kayak and tighten it all down at once later on. The front 4 bolts for the transom mount have nuts on the bottom of them that have self-sealing nuts. That way they aren't going to loosen themselves. And here we tighten everything down on the back side of the kayak, as the ends of the bolts are going into the foam float itself, so there's no access to put a nut on the back side here. But as you can tell, just with the back bolts installed, it's pretty on there, and it's not going to come off, even if you don't have the ability to put nuts on some of them. And with all 8 on, you can pick up the whole kayak pretty easily with just the transom. The kayak itself is 100 pounds, so that's saying something. That thing's not going anywhere. It's on there pretty sturdy. So we're going to get ready and move the tray for the chair in the right position and start loading everything in for a little test fit at home before we end up going to the lake. It's always better to test fit all this stuff before you get out to the lake. This way, obviously, you will have access to all of your tools in case you need to fix or adjust something. And here I'm just tightening the directional clamp That way, whenever you let go of the motor, it doesn't end up just going all over the place and it stays in the direction you leave it. And the super cool thing about the battery box is, as you can see right here, there's a USB port on the left side, and then you can use that to charge your phone or anything that's USB powered. And on the right side there is a 12-volt out, so you can charge anything else you might need. And the battery box itself has a 60 amp breaker in it that you can reset with the push buttons, and both auxiliary ports also have their own breaker that you can reset with the push button. For the prop install, make sure you put your pin in, because without that pin it's just not going to turn the prop very well at all. And it is a shear pin, so that if anything hits the prop will break, and hopefully the pin, so that you can save your motor. Need to definitely make sure that whenever you turn your motor on, that the blaze on the prop is not going to hit the bottom of your kayak whenever you go to turn. So that's always a good thing to test out before you get out there in the lake. Then here we have the Ninja blade, which is super cool. I'm kind of worried it's going to fall off, so when I'm done here before we get out to the lake, I think I'm going to put a whole bunch of electrical tape to hold that on there, maybe a zip tie or two, as someone mentioned in a previous teaser video in a comment. So hopefully I don't lose it. It was kind of expensive at $35 for a chunk of aluminum. If you have any questions or concerns, drop me a line down below. If you really enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and like the video, give it a thumbs up, and hit that little notification bell whenever you subscribe. That way, every time I post something, you'll get a notification that Mainsville in Perspective had a video come out. Until next time, I wish you the best of luck. Happy shooting out there, and may the weather forever be in your favor.